Completing the roof was a major milestone of the build and quite the challenge. We got as much information and knowledge as we could from the place we bought the roofing materials, but there was still a lot of improvising and troubleshooting as we went. The manufacturer of the metal roof is a company called Westman Steel. We actually went by their warehouse because we couldn't figure out where to go and buy it. They were helpful, letting us know our options and directing us towards a hardware store that we could go to order it. We went with 12-inch snap lock panels in the color called Copper Penny. The hardware store was great. We brought in the dimensions of the sheathed roof and told them what angle the slope of the roof was. Apparently the roof slope was just barely steep enough to work, so keep that in mind. The angle of our roof is 10.5 degrees. Don't ask me what the pitch is though, cause I have no idea. Anyways, the angle is important because the edge pieces all get pre-bent to that angle to fit flush with the fascia. The panels all come pre-cut to the length needed from the peak to the bottom, but the edge pieces come in standard lengths and need to be cut and folded by the installer. So speaking of the fascia, we couldn't put on the roof until it was painted and attached, and we couldn't attach the fascia until the rain screen was installed beneath it. This is why we didn't get the roof done until after a lot of other tasks, such as installing the windows and doors, since I was late on ordering the rain screen strips. Anyways, as with everything on the house to do with repelling the weather, the roof gets started at the bottom and everything gets layered on top from there. This meant the first step was attaching the bottom edge piece straight to the plywood sheathing. These pieces came in 10-foot sections, so we needed 2 of them to span the 16-foot roof. This meant we had a bit of room for error and could just trim things if needed. We bought some tin snips and went for it. I'd watched multiple videos on how to fold the corners, but I didn't like how they ended up in general. It's just not that appealing of a look to me, but when you're not up close to them, it's passable. My first attempt didn't go so well. I used roofing nails to attach them to the sheathing, and used some silicone between the seams just to make sure there wasn't a path for water there. The other corner went much better. It seems there are a few different ways to go about folding the corners. I just did what made sense to me so far as shedding water and what I thought looked alright. The next layer to go down was roofing paper, or in our case, a rubbery material called Resisto, which was recommended by the store we bought the roof from. It's basically giant blueskin, the flashing material we used for the windows and door.
Blah blah blah. It's kind of like blueskin. Blah 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 blah.
Our first attempt at laying this down was atrocious. Very frustrating, but it still went down without too many wrinkles.
Why is it catching?
Because you had it too bunched up.
What the man?
I told you had it too bunched up.
You have to back it up because it's stuck back there.
Okay, I'm gonna have to flip it upside down then.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm next to the edge of the roof here, okay? I don't want to fucking fall off. You're in my way. I can't exactly go around the other way. There it is, boys and girls. 22 minutes of the most annoying part yet. Feeling good?
No.
The second was much better. There's a reason it comes with 2 halves on the back to peel off.
We got a little bit started this time, just on half of it, because this is in 2 pieces under here. And just kind of going along, keeping this edge lined up with this hand, while I just pull it out from underneath this hand. And then you can kind of just flatten it as you go. It seems to be much easier than that last struggle we just did. Maybe this is even how you're supposed to do it. Really nice for the first half. So now we're peeling back the second half and it's going down pretty nice too. So I think we figured out how to install this stuff. Or at least a better way for us.
Is it the correct way? No idea, but it worked. We needed to cut the 4th and final strip of Resisto, which was easy with a utility knife. We cut and laid down our first roofing panel off camera. I meant to get footage of cutting the final panel, but time was not on our side for much of this process and the camera got neglected. We ended up buying electric shears to make the long cuts, and they were super easy to use and did the job nicely. So we've just started our roof, the actual roof panels. We've got it all laid out with this Resisto stuff, which is basically blueskin, but in 3-foot wide sheets. And so our first panel, what we had to do to figure this out
was first we had to cut it to make it more narrow. Because by the time we get to the other end, there's a piece of metal that fits over here, and it has to lay flat in here. If it had hit a rib at the other end, it wouldn't work out. And we did the calculation of the distance between each rib on the roof and found that if we made this cut first, it would lay nice on the other end and we wouldn't have a problem. How we made sure that this was square was we just measured from the other side of the roof all the way over to the edge of this panel. And we measured at the top of the panel and at the bottom of the panel and made sure those distances were the same. And they were. And so, according to science, this panel is going on square.
The panels were the same length as the roof, and we installed them an inch down from the top so they'd have an inch of overhang at the drip edge. We weren't told to do this by the place we bought it, but I've seen other installations do this and it makes sense to me. The screws used to attach the panels are called pancake screws, and we were told to use them by the store. Snapping the panels together wasn't too hard, but did require a lot of pressure. If we needed to adjust the panel a bit up or down, hitting it with a rubber mallet did the trick.
Huh. Well, good thing it moved enough.
Good thing it's our last panel. Last panel because we are running out of space. And we're also extremely tired.
This is unfortunately the end of the footage I have for roofing. The roof was, of course, finished, but I had to do the rest of it on my own and in a restricted amount of time, so I powered through without the camera.
Wow. She's a beaut.
I have photos though. I did my best to cut and fold the corners, but the snips were just super awkward to use. I have an angle grinder now and should have used one for this job. These copper colored screws came with the rest of the roofing material. I've only used enough to fasten everything down, so I still need to go over the whole roof and finish installing the screws at regular intervals. The roof is doing its job and it doesn't look too bad, even if the corners aren't the prettiest. I'm confident that I won't have any leaks. If you're looking for a good how-to on folding the corners, I suggest watching Tiny Nest's video, so far as this style of metal roof goes. I'm not sure who manufactured their roof, but it's pretty similar to mine. I'll link their video in the description. The last thing I did to try and help with keeping water from getting under the roof was sticking down some weather stripping to act as a sort of dam underneath the ridge cap. I'm still not satisfied with this though. It will keep some water from getting blown up in there, sure, but it's still a comfy spot for bugs to make a home, so I'm going to get up there and do something better with it when the winter is over. I'll have a link for that in the description once I've done it and posted a video. Overall, the roof wasn't too bad to install, but it had its moments. I would definitely suggest using an angle grinder instead of tin snips. I'm really glad my roof is just a basic rectangle because I'm sure it would have been a nightmare for me to try and do anything more complicated. Maybe next time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and check the description below for links to the Rookie Roost social media accounts and my Patreon page where you can support the channel directly in exchange for exclusive content. See you next time at the Roost.